3 days later, he was gone. My name's Ava Carter. I was 16 when this happened, 2019, in a tiny forest town in Washington called Pine Ridge. Population? Nobody. Just trees, rain, and one road in and out. Our house was right at the edge of the woods, and my bedroom window faced straight into the tree line. At night it wasn't dark, it was just black. Like the forest swallowed the light. At first I didn't care. I even slept with the blinds open. But a week after we moved in, my little brother, Noah, he was 8, started telling Mom he could see a tall man outside. Mom said, "It's just shadows, baby." I said, "Dude, go to sleep." But every night he woke up crying and pointing at my window. One morning I noticed muddy handprints on the glass, high up, way higher than Noah could reach. I asked Mom if she was cleaning outside. She said no. I tried to wipe them from the inside. They didn't smudge. It was like the mud was sealed in the glass. Then came the storm. Heavy rain, wind hammering the roof, branches hitting the house. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to this low, static sound. Not from my phone, the screen was off. Not from the TV, it was unplugged. It sounded like it was coming from outside. I turned to the window. Lightning flashed, and I saw someone standing at the edge of the woods. Tall, thin, still. No face, just this pale shape. I stared. Next flash, he was closer. I told myself I was half asleep. I pulled the blanket over my head, counted, peeked again. Nothing there. So I went back to sleep. Next morning, Noah was gone. Back door cracked open. Little rain boots missing. Mom panicking, screaming his name. We called 911. They searched the woods for 2 days. Dogs, volunteers, drones. They found the dog near the creek. They did not find Noah. They told us he wandered too far. They told us, this happens. But I remembered the handprints and the static. 3 nights later, I heard the same static again. Louder this time, like it was inside the walls. I sat up and the room was freezing. My phone was dead even though I'd charged it. Then I heard tapping on the window. Slow, calm, like whoever was out there wasn't in a hurry. I played and he was right there. Not at the forest, at the window. His head almost touched the top of the frame. Skin too pale, arms way too long. One hand resting on the glass like he was feeling for a way in. He didn't move, didn't tilt, didn't blink, he couldn't. No face. I couldn't scream. I just sat there, shaking. Then he tilted his head, like he was listening. I ran downstairs. Front door was wide open again. Mom wasn't there. I thought she'd gone looking for him, but her car keys were still on the counter. Police came back. They said maybe someone was messing with us, maybe some creep in the woods. But the mud on the floor went from the back door, straight to my room, and stopped at the window. We moved out the next week. Mom didn't even argue. We just packed boxes and left Pine Ridge behind like it was cursed. I thought that was it, until a month later I got an envelope. No name, no return address, just my first name, Ava, in a kid's handwriting. Inside was a photo. It was of our old house, taken from the trees, at night. You can see my window. And in the window, you can see Noah, standing there, looking out, like he lives there now. And right behind him, taller, faceless, something with a hand on his shoulder. So if your little brother says there's a tall man in the trees, believe him. I can still hear her running behind me, her anklets scraping on the stone floor, and I swear every time I look back, she is closer, even though I am the only one left alive. I'm not turning around because I know if I see her face again, I will never stop screaming. My name is Naina, and this story is the only thing I have left of my friends. This happened at Bangar Fort in Rajasthan on the 14th of October 2019, and we went there like idiots, thinking it would just be content for our tiny channel. 4 girls on a haunted trip. It sounded funny back then. It does not sound funny now. We were in a rented Jeep, bouncing over broken road, and hot air came in from the window, carrying dust and the smell of dry grass. Radhika was in the front, telling the driver not to be a coward and to drop us as close to the fort gate as possible. Isha sat next to me in the back, trying to balance a packet of chips and her phone at the same time. And Priya held her Rudraksha bracelet so tight her knuckles had gone white. Radhika turned around over the seat and said, "We are not just going for a selfie. We are going to stay till sunset at least. That is when the real energy comes alive, and our views will finally go up." Isha rolled her eyes and said, "Sure, and maybe a ghost will collab with us." Priya looked at me and whispered, "Naina, I do not like this place already, and we are not even inside." The Jeep stopped near the broken gate, and I saw the famous board for the first time. Big letters in the fading light saying, "Staying in Bangar after sunset is strictly prohibited by the government of India." The driver told us to be back before dark, and he did not smile when he said it. He just looked past us at the fort like he was remembering something he did not want to tell. We walked in with our bags and cameras. I lifted mine and started filming automatically. The outer ruins looked normal enough. Just old stone walls, broken temples, some monkeys on distant structures, and yellow light over everything. Isha posed on a fallen pillar and said, "Welcome to my haunted empire, guys. Please like, share, subscribe before I die." Even Priya smiled for a second, but the smile vanished when we went deeper, and the sounds of the road disappeared behind us. Inside the intersections, the air changed. It felt heavier, like walking into a room where someone had been crying a few minutes ago. There were no birds, no tourists, just our footsteps and the crunch of gravel under our shoes. I did not say anything, but my stomach felt tight. We reached a narrow lane between 2 ruined havelis, and I lifted the camera to get a nice shot of the broken balcony lines against the sky. As I zoomed in, I saw someone standing in one of the dark windows, a woman shape in pale cloth, head tilted slightly to the side as if she was listening to us. I blinked, wiped my lens, looked again, and the window was empty. I told myself it was just a shadow, and I did not tell the others because I did not want to sound scared first. We kept moving, following Radhika because she said she had watched a YouTube guide and knew the best path. Priya kept murmuring little prayers under her breath, and Isha poked fun at her, but even her jokes were getting softer. Then we reached the courtyard with the old stone well in the center. The sky had started to turn orange and everything looked washed out, like a faded photo. There was a flat metal plate resting on the rim of the well, and on it lay a single, fresh marigold flower, which made no sense because we had not seen any priest or ritual nearby. Priya grabbed my wrist and said, "Do not touch anything. This is someone's offering." Isha rolled her eyes and picked up the flower anyway. saying, "Relax, it is just a flower, not a curse." She tossed it into the well, and all four of us leaned forward, waiting to hear it hit something. There was nothing. No splash, no thud. Just a long, empty silence that felt too deep, like the well swallowed even the sound. For a moment, I felt every hair on my arms stand up. Then from somewhere behind us came the faint sound of anklets. One soft step, like someone had moved just once. We all turned at the same time. The courtyard was empty. The broken walls looked the same as before, but the air felt colder. Isha said, "Must be some local woman hiding and laughing at us." But no laugh came back from the stones, and there should have been an echo. Radhika checked her phone and said, "It is only 5. We have more than an hour before sunset. Stop panicking."
Priya said, "I am not panicking. My heart is actually hurting, and I do not think this place wants us here." I wanted to agree with her, but instead I lifted the camera again because that is what I always do. I hide behind the viewfinder. As I panned slowly across the courtyard, the screen glitched for a moment. A flash of green lines and distortion, and in that single blink frame, I saw the same pale woman from the window standing near the archway behind us, her hair hanging straight, her face turned away. Then the glitch vanished, and the archway was empty again. I lowered the camera and my mouth felt dry. I did not know if I should tell the others or pretend nothing happened. So I just said quietly, "Maybe we should go back to the gate now. Everyone seems tired." Radhika looked annoyed, but she nodded, "Fine, we walk back, and if nothing happens, you all owe me a night shoot next trip." We left the courtyard and took the path we thought we came from. Broken walls on both sides, shadows getting longer, the light fading a little more with every turn. We walked in silence for a few minutes until Priya said in a very small voice, "Naina, did you notice that mark before?" She was pointing at a crack on the wall shaped like a crooked Y with a faded red handprint below it. We walked a little further and my stomach dropped because the path opened again into that same courtyard with the same old well and the same metal plate, now empty. Radhika swore under her breath. Isha laughed, but it sounded wrong and thin. And Priya just whispered, "I told you, this place does not want us to leave." I lifted the camera again without thinking, and somewhere far off, inside the stone, I thought I heard that anklet step again. Just one soft chime, like the fort was taking its first small step toward us. And I had no idea then how many more steps it was going to take, or how many it would take away from me. I lifted the camera again, and as I focused on the well, I heard something scrape along the stone. A harsh dragging noise like nails being pulled across rock. Priya gasped, "Someone is down there." Isha leaned over the rim and laughed weakly. "Hello? Anyone home? You can come subscribe." Her laugh stopped mid-breath. Her body stiffened. Her eyes locked on something behind me. She screamed, and something unseen yanked her backward by the ankle. She fell, scraping her palms, and was dragged toward the archway, her nails cutting lines in the dust. We chased her, Radhika shouting her name, but the archway filled with black smoke. When we reached it, Isha was gone. Radhika cursed and kicked the wall, yelling, "Come back! This isn't funny!" Priya cried, saying, "We should pray. We should leave, anything, please." I kept filming because my hands wouldn't stop.
The screen flickered, and for one blink, I saw Isha, crawling inside the dark hall, whispering, "Help me," before something tall bent over her, blocking the light. The frame cut to static. Radhika grabbed my arm. "We're leaving now!" We turned, but the passage behind us was sealed with fallen stone that hadn't been there before. Priya sobbed. "She's gone. We can't save her." And Radhika snapped, "Don't say that. She's our friend." But even she sounded unsure. We ran through another lane, hoping it led to the gate. Our lights shook over faded red handprints, some too big to be human, terrified. The air smelled of rust and damp cloth, every echo a step closer. Distant anklets jingling once, then silence. We burst into an open yard, thinking we'd escaped, but it was the same courtyard again. The well waited in the center, like it knew we'd return. Priya began chanting softly, her voice breaking. The wind stirred, though the trees outside were still. Then her voice cracked. She dropped the bracelet and pointed behind me. I turned and saw Isha standing barefoot, dust on her legs, eyes pale and wrong. Her lips moved, but no sound came. Radhika whispered, "She's alive," and ran to her. I grabbed her arm. "Don't!" But she tore free. Isha's smile spread, unnatural. She seized Radhika's wrist, twisting it with impossible strength. Radhika screamed, the sound bouncing off the walls. She hit the ground, gasping for air. I froze, empty except for the word, "Run." Priya yanked my arm. We stumbled down another corridor, leaving the camera where it fell behind us. Radhika's voice shouted my name, then another voice repeated it in the same tone. We didn't stop until the path split in two. Priya sobbed, "We can't leave them," and I said, "They're not them anymore." The air grew thick and hot, like the fort itself was breathing. We picked one direction and ran, the light shaking over carvings that seemed to move when we passed. We turned a corner and found Radhika's phone glowing on the floor. I picked it up and saw her own face on the screen, looking back at me. But in the reflection, she stood behind me, smiling, just like Isha had. I spun around, nothing there. Priya prayed louder. I felt tears running down my face. Every turn only went deeper, the fort stretching like it had no end. Then the wind died completely, and somewhere in the dark came Isha's laugh, soft and close, like it was inside my ear. Priya whispered, "She's calling us." I said, "Don't answer, don't even breathe." But she whispered Isha's name, and the air rushed forward. The light went out, and I was left holding nothing but darkness and the sound of my own shaking breath. The darkness pressed against my eyes until I couldn't tell if they were open or closed. Somewhere beside me, Priya was whispering my name, the sound trembling like it was afraid to exist. I turned the light back on, and the beam cut through floating dust. The floor was smeared with long drag marks leading away from us. We moved fast, half running, half stumbling. Every doorway looked the same. Every arch felt closer than before. I just wanted to see the sky again. Then we heard it behind us. The sound of feet sliding across rock, the weight of something dragging itself forward. Priya screamed, "Run!" and we did. We burst into the courtyard again, the same well waiting like it knew we'd return.
was left of her. Pale eyes rolled white, hair matted with dust. She smiled at us like nothing was wrong and said softly, "Come back. It's almost sunset." Radhika charged forward, swinging a broken stick, screaming her name. Isha caught her wrist too easily, twisting until bone cracked. Radhika collapsed, her scream echoing through every wall. I grabbed Priya's hand and pulled her toward the gate. Behind us, the fort roared like thunder. We didn't stop until the outer path opened, the real sky above us gray with evening. The jeep driver was already shouting, "What happened? Where are the others?" We said nothing, just got in, slammed the doors, told him to drive. Halfway down the mountain road, I looked back through the rear window and saw Radhika walking out of the fort gate alone, dust rising behind her. She was smiling, the same dead smile, eyes blank like glass. She climbed into the jeep without a word and sat next to Priya, staring straight ahead. No one spoke. The driver just kept muttering prayers under his breath. 10 minutes later, Radhika turned her head toward me. Her voice calm, too calm. "You should have stayed," she said. I looked away, closing my eyes for 1 second, and when I opened them, she was gone. The seat beside Priya empty, the door still locked. Priya started sobbing again, clutching her bracelet. The driver slammed the brakes. We searched the road with flashlights, but there was nothing. No footprints, no dust trail. She had vanished into the dark like the mountain swallowed her. By the time we reached the town, Priya wasn't moving either. Her eyes open, her lips whispering words I couldn't understand. She fainted before we could reach the hospital, and I blacked out soon after. When I woke up, it was bright white everywhere, monitors beeping. A nurse said I had been unconscious for 3 weeks. They found me alone in the back seat, the driver dead of shock, his hands still gripping the wheel. There were no signs of Priya or Radhika. No bodies, no tracks, not even fingerprints inside the car. They told me I screamed their names every night for the first week. The police searched the fort, the forest, the entire valley. Nothing. No clothes, no phones, no blood. It's like they never existed at all. I'm home now. They say I'm safe. But sometimes when I close my eyes, I hear the sound of anklets on stone. And when I look into the mirror for too long, the reflection smiles before I do. They have never been found. No traces, no memories, except me. And sometimes I wonder if I really came back at all, or if something else did instead.
Hey, my name's Ethan Collins. I was 21, a film student at Westbridge University in northern Wisconsin. This happened in October 2022, right before Halloween. I don't talk about it much because nobody believes me. But if you've ever seen static on your screen, maybe you should stop watching this right now, because that's how it started for me. It was my senior year short film project. I was editing footage from an abandoned parking lot just outside town. Around 2 a.m, I paused the video and the frame flickered. Not buffering, but real analog static. The kind you see on old VHS tapes. I leaned closer and noticed a tall shape near the light pole. It wasn't moving, just standing there. No face, no detail, just dark. At first I thought I'd left a crew member in frame, so I scrubbed back. Nothing. Fast forward again, and there it was, still as a statue. I figured it was a rendering glitch and went to bed. Next day in class, the projector glitched for half a second during someone's presentation. Static again. Same kind of interference. And right before it vanished, I saw that same tall figure. Nobody else reacted. I just sat there, frozen. That night I replayed my footage to prove to myself it was nothing, but the static got louder. A crackling hiss that shouldn't have existed, since the clip had no sound. Then my webcam light flicked on. I wasn't on a call, no apps were open. The screen flickered once more, and suddenly it wasn't showing the parking lot anymore. It was showing my dorm room, me, sitting at my desk. And behind me, something was standing. I turned instantly, but the room was empty. The light switched off by itself. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I slammed my laptop shut and didn't sleep the rest of the night. Next morning I told my friend Marcus. He laughed, said it sounded like a Slender Man story. I laughed too, but his voice cracked a little, like he didn't find it funny either. That night around 3 in the morning, Marcus called me. His voice was shaking. He said, "Bro, what's this video you sent me?" I told him I hadn't sent him anything. He said, "Then why is it moving?" He texted a screenshot. It was my parking lot clip, but now the tall figure wasn't near the light pole. It was right behind the camera. I didn't hear from Marcus again after that call. The next day, police found his car, parked deep in Blackwood Forest, about 10 miles from campus. Engine still running, driver's door open. No Marcus. I tried explaining everything, showed them my footage, but every file was corrupted. Even my backups, blank. They said maybe it was stress. Maybe I was seeing patterns. That night I unplugged everything. Phone, laptop, even my TV, and finally tried to sleep. Around 3 a.m, I woke to the sound of static. Not from a screen, from inside my head. It felt like electricity crawling through my skull. My body wouldn't move. I could see the corner of my room. And that's when I saw him again. Too tall for the ceiling, head bent sideways, arms hanging like wires. My phone buzzed once on the nightstand. The screen lit up an unknown number, and the message said, "I see you now." When I blinked, he was gone. Now, whenever I open a screen, any screen, it flickers for just a second. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of static that isn't supposed to be there. And every time, I feel the air shift behind me. So if your screen glitches while you're watching this, maybe it's not your Wi-Fi.
The night those kids disappeared behind the Silver Birch Motel, Everyone in Maple Falls blamed coyotes, runaways, or bad parenting. But I was there when the first one vanished, and I still see it when I close my eyes. My name's Caleb Reed. I was 17, working nights at that same motel off Highway 12 in Idaho. It was the summer of 2021. Humid, quiet, the kind of heat that sticks to your skin. Behind the motel sat an old playground. Rusted swings, a crooked slide, and a merry-go-round half buried in weeds. Locals said it was haunted. I thought it was just a story parents told to keep kids from wandering out there. That night, around midnight, I'd just finished mopping the lobby when I heard a child laughing outside. Quick, high-pitched, like somebody trying not to be heard. The motel was empty except for 2 truckers upstairs, so I grabbed my flashlight and stepped through the back door. The air felt heavy. No wind, only the smell of pine and wet asphalt. One swing moved slowly, creaking, squeaking like something invisible sat on it, while the others hung dead still. I whispered, "Hello? Anybody out there?" The swing stopped. That was worse than hearing it move. Then I saw small, barefoot prints in the dirt, leading toward the trees, and standing near the slide was a boy, maybe 8 or 9. Blue pajamas, pale as the moonlight. I asked, "Hey, buddy, you lost? Where's your mom?" He didn't answer. He just turned his head slowly and pointed at the woods. I raised the light and caught something tall at the edge of the tree line. Taller than any man, thin like shadow stretched wrong. My beam flickered once, and when it steadied, the boy and the shape were gone. I locked every door that night. Next morning, I told my manager, Gary. He laughed. "You've been watching ghost shows, Caleb." I laughed too, just so he'd stop looking at me like I was crazy. But that afternoon, police cruisers rolled into the lot. A kid named Eli Turner had gone missing. I told the officers what I'd seen. They nodded, wrote it down, eyes tired, like they'd heard that story before. 3 nights later, another child disappeared, a girl from across the highway. Then another the week after. No bodies, no trail, no sound, just gone. After that, the motel never felt empty. Around midnight, the office intercom would crackle with static, a low hum, then whispers threading through it. Sometimes laughter, faint and echoing, like it came from down the hall. One night, the voice came clear. "He's still here." I yanked the plug from the wall, but the sound kept going, crawling through the wires. My flashlight rolled off the desk, and outside, the swing started again. Slow, rhythmic, deliberate. I ran through the lobby and out the front door. I didn't stop until I hit the highway. Next morning, the police taped the place off. Gary's niece, Haley, had vanished during a sleepover. They shut the motel down within a week. I left town that same night, thinking distance would help. For a while, it did, until a month later when my phone buzzed at 3 a.m. Unknown number. A voicemail. Static at first, then a whisper. "Come back, Caleb." I threw the phone, but the voice kept playing from the floor, like it wasn't coming from the speaker anymore. I
could still hear the swing creaking somewhere in the static. Now, sometimes in my dreams, I'm back there. The playground glows under a half moon, the woods bending inward, and the boy stands beside the slide, smiling this time, whispering something I can almost understand. If you ever pass through Maple Falls, don't stop at the Silver Birch Motel. And if you hear children laughing behind it, don't go check.
I saw Lena on the lobby camera 3 hours after they found her hanging in room 313. She was standing behind the front desk like nothing had happened, and she was smiling straight into the lens like she knew I was watching. My name doesn't matter. What matters is I worked nights with her at the Hollow Rest Inn, a cheap dying motel on the edge of the highway, where the wallpaper peels like old skin, and the neon sign buzzes like an insect trapped in a jar. I was the one who trained her, and I was the idiot who told her the only real rule we had: never rent out room 313. When I said it, I tried to make it sound like a joke. Told her, yeah, the manager says it's condemned. Bad wiring, broken pipes, ghost with a union contract. Pick your reason, but just don't touch it. He was serious about that part. She laughed and said, sure. I'll keep the demon suite empty then. And we moved on. Because that's what you do when a place feels wrong. You pretend it's funny. The manager went on sudden leave a week later. Family emergency. No details. He handed her the key ring and told me over the phone, Lena will cover nights till I'm back. You keep an eye on the systems from home. And remember, 313 stays blocked. I said, yeah, of course. And that was it. Her first 2 nights on her own, she kept texting me stupid stuff. First night, it's dead here. Think the fridge is louder than the guests. Second night at 3:20 a.m. Your haunted elevator stopped on 3rd floor by itself. Clock behind desk froze at 3:13. I told her it was just old circuits. Ghost of an electrician. But I still opened the remote camera app on my phone and checked the feeds. Lobby. Empty. Corridors empty. Nothing wrong, except the feeling in my chest like something was waiting for me to blink. Then came the 3rd night. It was raining hard outside my apartment window. The kind of rain that makes the world feel far away. I was half asleep on the couch when my phone buzzed. 3:12 a.m. System weird. 313 is green. Thought you blocked it. Before I could reply, a second notification slid over it. Hollow Rest Inn. New reservation. Room 3132. Guests. My stomach went cold. I never unblocked that room. The manager never unblocked it. Nobody should have been able to book it automatically. I opened the 3rd floor camera. Screen went white for a second, then cleared. The corridor lights low. Wallpaper peeling. Door numbers dull. 309. 311. And at the end, 313. The door was open. just a little black line of space. I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Her voice sounded like it was coming from inside a cupboard. "Front desk. Lena, it's me. Did you touch 313? Silence. Just a soft breath. "No," she said. "But I think someone's in there." "The system says checked in," I swore under my breath. Told her don't go near it. Just mark it out of order. Leave it. "I'm serious." She laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "Too late," she said. "The door's already open." The line cut. I tried calling back again and again. Nothing. The camera feed started freezing. One by one. Only the lobby stayed up. And even there, the clock on the wall had stopped at 3:13, like someone had pressed pause on time. I sat awake till sunrise, staring at the phone, telling myself it was a glitch, telling myself she'd text any second. She didn't. By evening, I couldn't take it anymore. I drove out to the motel, rain making the road shine black and oily. The sign flickering hollow rest in, because half the letters were dead. Her little hatchback was parked crooked in the lot. Lights off, windows fogged from the inside. I went in, calling her name. The air smelled like old coffee and bleach. The front door was unlocked, the desk unattended, the cheap lamp buzzing overhead. The analog clock above the monitor said 3:13, even though my watch said just after 9 at night. The booking system was still open on the screen. One active reservation, sitting there like a stain. Room 313. Check-in complete. Guests 2. No names. No card info. Nothing. Just that I was reaching for my phone to call the manager. When the bell on the lobby door chimed, a couple came in out of the rain. The guy, maybe mid-30s. Leather jacket stuck to him. The woman, hugging her arms like she was freezing, even inside. They both looked exhausted and tense, like they'd been arguing in the car for hours. They saw me and relaxed a little. "Hey man," he said. "You open? We just need a room for the night." "Any room," I opened my mouth to say. "Yeah, sure. We've got plenty." And then I heard another voice answer. First, from right behind me. "We have one. Ready." I turned, and she was there, behind the desk. Lena. Same uniform, same name tag, hair pulled back in that neat little bun she always did. But her skin was wrong. Too pale, too tight across her cheekbones, her lips a bit too dark, her eyes fixed on the couple, like I wasn't even in the room. "Third floor, end of the hall," she said, in this flat, calm tone I'd never heard her use before. "Room 313 is prepared." My heart started pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I hadn't heard the office door open. I hadn't seen her car lights. I hadn't heard footsteps. Nothing. She was just there, like she'd grown out of the shadows. I stepped closer and saw a dark streak along her collar, disappearing under her hair. It looked like dried water at first, until I realized water doesn't dry. Almost brown. "Lena, where did you go last night? I called you like 10 times. I asked her, my voice all wrong. She didn't answer me. She just slid the heavy brass key fob across the counter toward the man. The dull numbers 313. Catching the light for a second. "Your room is ready," she said. "Checkout is at 11. The woman hesitated. She looked at me, not at Lena. And I swear her eyes asked me, should we really stay here? But my throat wouldn't make any sound. They took the key anyway, walked toward the elevator, dragging their small suitcase wheels rattling on the tiles for a second. As the doors were closing, I glanced at the security monitor behind the desk. The live feed of the lobby showed them walking away, exactly like in front of me. But behind the desk in the grainy picture, I wasn't there. Only Lena, standing perfectly still, staring straight into the camera. Even though in real life she had her back half turned, I felt sick. I looked back at her, and for one moment her eyes shifted and met mine. And there was something trapped behind them. Something that looked like the real Lena banging on glass from deep underwater. Then it was gone, replaced by that flat, empty calm. "You should go home," she said, very quietly. "You're not on shift tonight. You shouldn't be here when it hits 3:13. I looked at the clock again. 9:27. The minute hand ticking like nothing was wrong. I left. I'm not proud of it. I went out into the rain, sat in my car staring at the third-floor windows. One curtain had a faint yellow glow behind it, exactly where room 313 should be. I was still watching that window when the motel phone rang once inside the lobby. I couldn't hear the words, but I felt them. The hair on my arm stood up, and in my head, clear, as if someone was whispering inside my skull. I heard her voice. "Check-in complete." That was the last time I saw her standing and breathing. The next time would be when the police pulled me into the hallway outside 313 and made me look at what was hanging from the bathroom door, and at the couple in the bed who looked like they were just sleeping, dead but peaceful, while the TV played nothing but static, and my name kept flickering across the bottom of the screen like I was the one checked in, and not them.